Week number 2 of the NFL season is in the books, so we are back with the Steal a Player series. Now, if you're new around here, what we do is every team that wins will be able to steal a player from their opponent. So, for instance, the Bills in week 1, they beat the Rams, they took Aaron Donald, and now after blowing out the Titans in week 2, they can't take Derrick Henry because Henry's already gone. He got stolen by the Giants. They end up going with Taylor Lewan, the left tackle. They did consider taking Jeffrey Simmons, but you already have Donald and Vaughn on the D-line. It was a little bit overkill. I finally got a chance to see my Eagles in person, and let me just say, man, they look pretty good. The Vikings are a very talented roster. There's so many players that we could have stolen. They have Ragnow from the Lions, who they got in week 1. And while Jay Jettas and Dalvin Cook, they were both enticing options, very enticing, but I didn't feel like demoting AJ Brown, demoting Booby Sanders. Why not upgrade at a position that, quite frankly, we haven't had a star in very, very long? Eric Hendricks is the new Eagles MLB. Rodgers and the Packers got it done. Aaron Jones was going off. Their running back tandem still one of the best in the league. Their wide receiver core, however, is not. Aaron Rodgers has a new target. Darnell Mooney is who they're going to steal from Chicago. The Cardinals pick up their first win of the season. Kyler was going crazy. Now, they already lost a nuke in this series. The Chiefs stole him in week 1, but luckily for them, they played the Raiders, who have 99 overall. Devontae Adams. Kyler has a new number 1. The Broncos pick up their first win of the season. Now, they lost Russell Wilson in week 1. The Seahawks stole him back, but they don't play a team that has like an amazing quarterback. They beat the Texans, so they're actually not going to steal a quarterback. Instead, they shore up that offensive line. They take Laramie Tunsil. If they keep winning, they'll have a new quarterback that he's going to protect very soon. The Cowboys with a backup quarterback did the unthinkable. Nobody had them beating the Bengals. They get their first win of the season, and now Dak is going to have a brand new number 1. Jamar Chase is who they steal from the Bengals. They have Zeke and Pollard. They didn't need Mixon, so you can't pass up on Jamar. We're hoping Trey Lance has a speedy recovery, but the Niners still found a way to win with Jimmy G. So now to reward them, they get DK and pair him up with Debo. After losing Kittle in week number 1, the passing attack gets a lot stronger. The Rams get their first W of the season as well. And if you remember, they lost Aaron Donald in week number 1, so this time they still Grady Jarrett from the Falcons, who gave them a scare. That was a very close game at the end. I've been telling you guys for the longest that Tua is one of the most underrated players in the league. I could not in good conscience steal Lamar, even though Lamar is one of the best QBs in the league, had a phenomenal performance. It just wouldn't feel right demoting Tua after having a 6 TD performance. You can't do it. So I'm going to let him keep on throwing to Tyreek and Waddle. And instead, why not give him even more protection? The second lineman in a row they're going to steal, Ronnie Stanley from the Ravens after taking Andrews from New England. The Jaguars took care of business. They're looking good after taking apart the Indianapolis Colts, who were dealing with a lot of injuries, but they still did what they needed to do. Trevor Lawrence is looking good with this offense. I'm not gonna lie, Christian Kirk, people are clowning the signing, but look at him now. Quentin Nelson is who they're stealing from Indianapolis. JT was an option, but obviously you have Robinson, ETN, you're set at running back. The O-line needed a lot of help. The Patriots bounce back and get a nice W against Pittsburgh, and this one was a no-brainer. You have to go with TJ Watt. Now you have him and Judon, one of the better outside linebacker duos in the league. How many people had the Giants being 2-0? I'd argue not too many, okay? They steal Derrick Henry week 1, and then they play another team that has an elite running back, so it's just really bad luck for them when their best players are already a running back and say quads. But you know what? They're going to take some offensive talent from Carolina regardless, okay? DJ Moore is going to be their new number 1. Brady and the Bucks are also undefeated. It's been sloppy. They've dealt with a lot of injuries. They signed Cole Beasley. You have him, Julio, Godwin, and Evans. Still just a nasty receiving core. Last week, they stole Micah Parsons. This week, they get the Honey Badger. 3 X Factors, 2 other guys with abilities, just an all-around disgusting defense. I think we're underestimating just how good the Lions are. They barely lost to Philly, and then they take care of the Commanders in week 2. Amon-Ra is a star. You still have Jamison Williams. You have Swift, Hawkinson, Chark. So much talent on offense. Goff is looking good. So instead of taking scary Terry McLaurin, they go with Jonathan Allen, one of the best players on the Commanders, to shore up that D-line, which honestly is not very good. The Jets get their first win of the season, but it definitely wasn't a breeze. They narrowly squeak out the dub against Cleveland, and they're going to take Myles Garrett because, I mean, it's a 99 overall. Now they have one of the best D-lines in the entire NFL. And then finally, Patty Mahomes and the Chiefs against the Chargers is always a great time, okay? It's always going to be a very good game. Now, they took Nuke Hopkins in week 1, so you're not going to take Keenan, but luckily the Chargers have one of the best rosters in the league. So they had a bevy of options to choose from on defense. Khalil Mack is who they they end up settling with one of the best pass rushers of our generation. I got the force wins out the way, but if anyone knows how to make a tie in Madden, please let me know. I greatly appreciate it because the Colts and Texans, but the rest of the force wins have been completed. We're gonna pick this one up in week number 3. Great time to like the video as we simulate to the playoffs. 2,000 likes to keep this series going. Khalil Mack and the Chiefs end up with the 1 seed. The Patriots with TJ Watt end up 13-4, the 2 seed. Ravens, Bills, Colts, Browns, and Steelers, who lost TJ Watt, somehow still make the playoffs. The Chargers go 7-10. Dolphins and Raiders all 7-10. Bengals are missing Burrow a lot. Meanwhile, his old teammate Jamar Chase helps the Cowboys get the 1 seed. The Saints go 13-4. Same with the Niners, Bucks, Packers, Bears, and Eagles with the brand new MLB end up making the playoffs. Giants go 8-9 after winning 2 games in a row to start the season. Khalil Mack breaks the record, 25 sacks in Kansas City and an interception. Myles Garrett comes to the Jets and leads them in sacks, 13.5 on the season. Remember, Jonathan Allen's just a D tackle, but he still ends up leading the Lions with 6.5 sacks. The Honey Badger ends up with 1 interception, a tackle for loss, 88 tackles on the season for his new team, Tampa Bay. DJ Moore has a 1,000-yard season in New York, 87 receptions, 7 tutties, 14.5 sacks for TJ Watt in New England. He also added an INT. No 1,000-yard rusher for the Jaguars, even though they added Quentin Nelson, who allowed 0 sacks on the season, over 1,200 snaps. I'd say that was a wise addition. The Dolphins also didn't have a 1,000-yard rusher, even after adding Ronnie Stanley, who allowed 13 sacks and less snaps played than Quentin Nelson. Grady Jarrett stepped in for Aaron Donald, but he could not produce the same. 6 sacks on the season, second on the Rams. The Niners had a nice one too with DK and Debo. They both had over 900 yards. DK had the most receptions, but only had 4 touchdowns. 9 touchdowns, meanwhile, for Jamar Chase is good enough for second on the Cowboys. He had 78 receptions and almost 1,000 yards. Broncos did not have anything close to a 1,000-yard rusher. So it's safe to say that Tunsil did not have a great season. 16 sacks allowed. Meanwhile, the new number 1 in Arizona, Devontae, had a 1,000-yard season, 8 touchdowns along with it. The Packers' new number 1, Darnell Mooney, also had a 1,000-yard season, 6 touchdowns. Eric Kendricks was all over the field, 126 tackles to lead the Eagles, 10 tackles for loss, and 5 interceptions. And then finally, the Buffalo Bills have a new 1,000-yard rusher, Devin Singletary. And even though Lewan allowed 9 sacks, you had to think he's a great addition for that run game. Taking a look at the season stats, we had 5 guys with 5,000 plus yards. Tua ends up second after his offensive line gets a lot better. Brady leads everyone at 46 touchdowns. We had a bunch of guys with more than 40. 32 interceptions for the new Bengals starter. They need to win so they can steal a quarterback badly. JT ends up leading everybody with 1,900 yards on the ground. Zeke was in the top 2. Elliott also has the most touchdowns, tied with Josh Jacobs. Henry had 20 on the Giants. Lamar had 15 from the quarterback position. He's just insane. Cooper Kupp breaks the record for the most receiving touchdowns in the season, 27. Rams better hope they don't lose to anybody soon because he will be gone immediately. For the first time in a while, he doesn't win the Triple Crown though. Mike Evans, 139 receptions to lead everybody. You see Amon-Ra in the top 5. That dude's a star. I'm telling you, he's only 80 overall now, but wait, end of the season, he should be in the high 80s easily. 27 sacks for Vaughn. Him and Mac both break the record. Donald still ends up in the top 3 on a brand new team. Crosby's still on the Raiders. Bosa, there's a lot of guys in the top 10 who could be on different teams very, very soon. 6 picks for Isaiah Oliver and Bryce Hall. Then a bunch of guys with 5. It's Mahomes who takes home the MVP though. Allen was right there. Dak ends up in the top 3. Here's the rest of the top 10. Somehow the Colts, who tied in week 1, so they lost nobody, and then they lose Quentin Nelson in week 2, still end up making it to the Super Bowl to face the Cowboys, who lost Micah Parsons to the Bucks in week 1 and then stole Jamar Chase. Their offense looks like it might be unstoppable. Let's see what happens in this game. Dak with just over a minute left still has all 3 timeouts. He's gonna find who else but brand new addition Jamar Chase. He's gonna get him across midfield. Clock continues to run. Dak's gonna lob it up. That's a terrible decision. He's lucky it wasn't picked off. I don't know what he was thinking right there. They dodge a huge bullet. You need a touchdown to win. 40 seconds left. There's a laser. Gallup gets them the first, but a few plays later, and they're in a 3rd and 10 situation. 22 seconds left. 2 timeouts. Here comes the blitz.
Another one.
But they still get the first. 1 timeout left for the Cowboys. And what has been a thrilling finish to this Super Bowl. He's gonna throw a pick intended for Zeke Elliott, but instead, Kenny Moore II helps the Colts win the Super Bowl. Nick Foles is now a 2-time Super Bowl champion. Yes, sir. Matty Ice finally has one. And this has been a crazy series so far. I don't know how Indy did it after losing Nelson and not stealing anyone. But I hope the craziness continues next week. I hope we have another installment if you guys reach the like goal, man. That's all I want. Thank you for watching. I'm exhausted from driving all the way back from PA. Let me go get some sleep, and I'll see you guys on the next one.